What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. I've got nothing's ready. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. We're gonna be testing out a proper Mobula 6 ceramic antenna versus a janky piece of wire tonight. It's also a Q&A stream, and nothing's up here. Let me get the chat going on. My mom is in town, and we were out eating and having a good time, and I forgot everything. There's also like a plumbing nightmare here. It's complete and utter chaos, like more chaos than I've ever experienced in my life before. But I'm still here. I'm breathing. Hopefully things will calm down soon. Otherwise, my head will explode. All right, hang on. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just completely unprepared. But you're probably used to that by now. Bulldog FPV was first, Dead Chicken was next, Left Step, Chopper FPV, Ramdonko FPJV, CMYK FPV, Danzo the Terrible, Michael Blade, No One FPV, Kevin Sumner, Andrew S. U. Jalen, Ram Donko, Danzilla the Terrible, Ram Donko again, Raven 187, Michael D. Cable 14, Ram Donko again, Brandon's Baked Beans, Cole Powers, Paul McDonald, Brandon's Baked Beans, Momo Slappy, and Ram Donko one last time. June Loco as well. If you want to talk directly to me, all you gotta do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up in orange, and you'll be good to go. I am absolute. I can't remember ever being this exhausted either. I got about 2 hours of sleep last night. The plumbing thing is just absolutely out of control. There's this bucket that has to be emptied out every couple hours. Still don't have air conditioning. And I've also now hurt my wrists. So yeah, it's very challenging. But sometimes life is very challenging. You can either meet it head on and own it, or you can bitch and moan. I'm very good at bitching and moaning, but I'm trying my best to, yeah, just stick with it and just keep on going. So yeah, my apologies for my lateness and my unpreparedness and my unbelievable tiredness. But hey, they can't all be good. They can't all be good live streams. I also managed to squeeze in buying a 27-inch Mac monitor from Facebook Marketplace, which is a Thunderbolt monitor, and I didn't remember that Thunderbolt is this. For some reason, I thought that Thunderbolt is the basically USB-C. So yeah, I can't hook the damn thing up. So yeah, at the end of the stream, I gotta hop on Amazon and see if there's a, I'm sure there is, a way to convert this Thunderbolt over to, words go here that make sense. I do want to make sure that the damn thing works, and I think it'll plug into, yeah, it'll plug into this laptop. So hold on, let me just make sure the damn thing works. I got a hell of a deal on it, but it was still a lot of money for me. I mean, for me, everything's a lot of money, but I would like to make sure that it works, so that if it doesn't, I can bitch and moan at this guy as soon as possible. So let me, should be plugged in. I guess it should just pop up. Let's see. Beautiful monitor. Jesus, it's a big bastard, and it's just gorgeous. So let's see. We're gonna go system preferences, and then we're gonna go to displays. And what's kind of cool is that the monitor has a plug that hooks up to the laptop that charges the laptop. That's pretty goddamn fancy. There must be a power button on it somewhere, I'm guessing, because it's not coming on. Or maybe this is why I got a really good deal. Do you have a power button? Yes? No? Maybe so? It's charging the laptop, so that's a good sign. But ooh, is this it? Nope, that ain't it. Come on now, please. Please? Come on. Have a power button. Or just turn on. He sent me a picture of it turned on. And it had the right date and time on it. Oh! Is that it? Come on. Something's happening. Hey! Look at that! Cool. It works. Thunderbolt display. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Wow, this is gorgeous. Jesus. My monitors are like the old school Apple like clear plastic monitors that are probably pushing like 15, damn near 20 years old. Alright, that's all I wanted to know. And so yeah, this is a hell of a treat. It's, oh, don't do this thing where you stay on even though the laptop is closed. Yeah, this is a hell of a treat for me. I tend to use gear until it's all used up, because stuff's expensive. And yeah, I really try to get my money's worth out of stuff. And that's not on. And so yeah, when I do get something new, even though it's probably not a big deal to like anybody else, it's always a really big deal to me. And I like it that way. Oh man, all these batteries are dead. What the hell? Hold on, this one's probably good. Last missing puzzle piece. Here we go. Here we go, friends. Yeah! Oh, come on now. Yeah, there it is. Amazing! This place is starting to come together, man. It's starting to look okay up in here. I put the globe up here. Look, the globe's up there. Oh, 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 oh! Look what else I have. We can even throw some light on the quads back here. Look at us go! Yeah! Oh, farts. There it is. Look at that! Does that look good? Oh, it does! Oh! That's just temporary. I don't think that's gonna stay like that. But, yeah. It's cool to do, like, temporary lighting things to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. That globe, I'm not sure if it's going to stick on red or... Oh. What do you guys think? Red or purple for the globe? Oh, it's got to be red. Because the red is lighting up the ceiling there. Oh, yeah, it's red. Yeah. Red globe. Cool. Step by step, man. One thing at a time. One foot in front of the other, goddammit. Bulldog FPV says, damn, do I love this little ripsqueak. Just snuck in 3 batteries. Very cool. It's a great frame. Great little frame. Man, I have such a hard time with it. FPJV says, what's up, CiottiFPV and Collective? CMYK says, Wednesday already? Indeed it is. Michael Blade says, what's good, bud? Denzo the Terrible says, good evening. CiottiFPV and Collective, I hope Wednesday finds you well. Andrew S says, I hope the shop vac made it through the night. Sounded like it was going to get a lot of use. Yeah, I actually stopped using the the Milwaukee shop vac, which is battery powered, because good lord, sucking up water was just hammering the shit out of the batteries. I had an old school plug-in battery powered shop vac that I originally bought to clean vinyl. Actually, I got this really cool record cleaning setup that's actually fully 3D printed. And you have to provide your own source of... So the best way to clean vinyl is to get the face of the record with the grooves wet, and then to vacuum up that wetness. To pull, because that's really the only way that you can pull the little particles of dust out of the grooves. Most of the cleaning methods that you see are just like some kind of a fancy brush, and like that'll pick up like a couple little specks of dust that are like attracted to the brush from static electricity, but otherwise it just mashes the dirt and dust into the grooves, or it just pushes it around. So yeah, the only real way to clean vinyl is to have some sort of a vacuum source. Well, they make a bunch of machines that do this, but those machines are like $500, $600, $700, $800. So this guy, forget who it is. This is years ago, since I was obsessed about this for a couple of months. This guy 3D prints a really nice little setup. What? Yeah, he 3D prints this nice little setup. He uses like an industrial strength, like Lazy Susan roller spinny tabley thing. What the hell's happening over here? Why is the laptop randomly restarting? I don't want you to restart, yo. Nobody told you to restart. What are you doing? I told you to sleep. So yeah, he 3D prints everything, and then you just hook a shop vac hose up to it, and then the solutions you can just buy. Like, there's specific solutions, and then you use distilled water, and it does an amazing job. It like really does a good job. The laptop appears to have lost its mind. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna unplug it. and I'm just gonna put it over here, and hopefully it's not broken. Very strange. So yeah, I had that shop vac from way long ago, and here's what's funny. I was really close to selling it when I got the Milwaukee battery powered one, and then I thought, you know what? When you need if you need a shop vac for water, like, it's nice to have, like, at that point, it'd be nice to have 50 shop vacs, right? Because, like, if you're shop vacuuming up water, there's a big fucking problem. And so I had this unbelievable moment of clarity, like, don't sell it. You're only gonna get, like, 20 bucks for it. It's worth it to, like, have it on the goddamn shelf in the garage. And that was, like, a week ago. No, it was a couple of weeks ago that I had that thought. And then, yeah, last night or the night before, I have no concept of time at this point. I was like, ooh! And I got it off the shelf, and now that's the shop vac that I've been using. Unbelievably, the Milwaukee is actually way more powerful than this one, but this one is just getting hammered to death. And I feel better hammering this cheapo plug-in one to death than the $100 Milwaukee that I got. Which is also, you know, like, that's hammering on the batteries, and so, yeah. This is my life now. Ramdanko says, was getting anxious about building and trying Race Gal, then yesterday just trying to fly my basic 2 gates I have, and turns out I'm so crap equals maybe next year CiottiFPV and all. The level of talent of some of these tiny whoop pilots, especially the racers, is just absurd. Like, it's just ridiculous. I can't watch it. It makes me feel like just the worst pilot on earth. It's really just kind of crazy, but it's very cool. It's very cool that the tiny whoops fly good enough to allow these folks to just do some really wild stuff. Remy Tim with a $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. Holy shit, super generous. He says, haven't been at many streams lately. Do take your time, don't stress, take a breath, never give up. We're here for you. Also, cancel a stream every once in a while. We'll be here when you're good and rested. Thank you. All right, bye-bye. There's this gigantic delay with the Stream Deck, which is I've started to notice lately. But there's not a like, if I go to the bench cam, yeah, there's no delay on the bench cam. There's no delay on the monitor either. Let's see. No, there's no delay on the monitor. There's just a delay when I hit end screen. Well, now there's not a delay. I guess I need to, like, hit all the buttons on the Stream Deck before I start streaming for it to, like, load them or whatever. But what's weird is when I use the function keys on the keyboard, there's no delay. It's very strange. I'll figure it out. Thank you very much, Dan. And hey, thank you for texting and calling. I was taking a shit, which is why the stream was late. I appreciate it, brother. No one FPV says the Apple Thunderbolt 3 to USB-C adapter is on Amazon for $46. What the fuck is it made of? Glod? $46, you thieving whores. Cole Powers says Thunderbolt originally came out on mini DisplayPort. That's what it is here. That's what this is. I couldn't think of what this is called. This is mini DisplayPort. It got folded into Type-C, and there should be some adapter to convert Thunderbolt 2 to Thunderbolt 3 Plus. Okay, so this must be Thunderbolt 2, and I need to convert it to Thunderbolt 3 Plus. That's super annoying. I was really hoping that that this little dock... Come on, goddammit. Yeah, man, my wrist is fucked, and it's not from feverishly beating off. I was really hoping this dock that one of you beautiful bastards sent me would, to be honest, I didn't even think to look on the back of the damn thing. I just started plugging it in. I was like, oh yeah, that'll fix the problem. But no, it does not have the mini DisplayPort plug on it. It's got 3 USB-Cs, one of them is in. It's got Ethernet. It's got a mini DisplayPort. So maybe I'll get a mini DisplayPort, or I don't know if that's what this is called, but this plug with the angle on it. Maybe I can get an adapter cheaper for this to that. But yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out tonight on the Amazon. Although to be honest, I might. So I've had a problem with this dock before, where when I plug if I plug a quad in to the USB port on this, it bombs the computer. So I'm actually going to look for a different dock tonight as well, because if I can find a dock that'll have the mini display port here, yeah, one less dongle, you know what I mean? But we'll see, I'll figure it out when I inevitably can't sleep tonight. No one FPV says, not sure that's the one you need though. That's alright, I'll figure it out. Brandon's McBean says, just slammed a banana and a glass of juice and now my tummy hurts. What should I do? Double down. Brandon, double down. You won't. You won't do it. You won't eat another banana and twice as much juice. You won't do it. I'm actually allergic to bananas. They make my stomach hurt no matter what. Bob Noxious says, what's up, Collective and CiottiFPV? I am Gross98 with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, absolutely loving your budget 65mm build and using 25,000 kV motors. Just wanted to send a thank you. Man, that build is a hell of a thing. We're actually going to be flying that build tonight. The Mobula 6 ELRS with the Janky antenna is pretty much exactly that build. Mobula 6 ELRS, Meteor 65 frame, Happy Model 0802 25,000s, the full-size ones, and Gemfan triblades. This is probably... I think this is the budget build, isn't it? By budget build, I assume you're talking about the one that I did for Joshua, right, on his website? I think this is it. Although this only has a whip antenna. I think on that budget build, I put the True RC Singularity on there. But yeah, we're going to fly this around a little bit tonight. I've got 4 batteries on the charger. We'll fly 2 and 2. The biggest thing that I want to figure out is there a performance difference between the ceramic antenna and the janky piece of wire? But while we're at it, we might as well also test 080, continue to test, because I've already kind of tried to figure this out. 0702 30,000s on the Gemfan biblades versus 0802 25,000s on the Gemfan triblades. So yeah, we will continue to try to figure out what the absolute most mega performance tiny whoop freestyle tiny whoop setup is. But I love that you're digging that setup. That setup right there, that budget 65mm setup, that's what I flew for like a year before the 0702s came out, and I absolutely loved it. FPJV says, if it's simple, you just call me PJ. I will try to remember that. Luckily, the P and the J are capital, so I might actually remember that. Kevin Sumner says, sent you a Facebook message with the correct Thunderbolt dongle for that monitor, assuming it's one of the aluminum body Apple displays. It is, and thank you very much, Kevin Sumner. Yeah, it's... can't really show you guys, but yeah, it's the big, beautiful... Wait, look, it slides. Look at this big, gorgeous thing. It's got the black front, and then it's the... Oh, God. It's the aluminum body and the big stand. Look at the size of it! Look how big it is. Jesus. It's, yeah, man. Get this, these fucking things on eBay, I've seen these things on eBay, now that I'm looking, sell for like $200 for a big, beautiful 27-inch Apple display. That's outrageous. I'm kind of thinking about buying another one. I don't necessarily want another 27 though. I would really prefer like a 24 or a 23. That's one of the reasons why I stuck with these OG Apple monitors. These guys. Hold on. Yeah, these ones. That's why I've always stuck with these. I mean, A, because I have them, but B, I like this size. 23 is like kind of perfect. This is interesting, but this is kind of big, man. Like, Jesus Christ. It's not big here where it's at right now, but once I put it here right in front of myself, it's gonna be like a lot. Although what's interesting is it's no taller. It's just, there's more screen per the frame. It's kind of the same size frame as the old school plastic ones, but the old school plastic ones, there's like that much plastic on the outside of the screen, whereas on this big gorgeous new one, there's only like that much. And I think this 27 is just wider too. I don't think it's that much taller. So that's actually really nice. I was concerned about this thing being so tall that I'd be like, looking up at it and shit. But it doesn't really look like it's any taller than these, which is really cool. Yeah, but I would love to get another one of these in like 23 or 24, even like 21 or 22, but I was looking last night and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find like an Apple Thunderbolt display that wasn't 27 inches, which seemed kind of crazy, but, you know, whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do, because this looks absurd next to this plastic old school one. And these plastic old school ones, like, I've had them for so long, they're definitely not as bright as they once were. And when you lose brightness, you lose, like, I mean, you kind of get used to it, but it makes color grading more difficult, because, like, the brightest brights are not all that bright. So you'll tend to, like, over brighten things. So yeah, it's not great, although I don't do much, if any, color correction at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling I'll end up just getting another one of these 27s, because I think I can squeeze it in on the desk here. Man, this is big though. This is a big fucking monitor. I did not expect it to be quite this big, but it's gorgeous. That's what she said. Thank you again, Kevin Sumner. Thank you again, I am Gross98 for the support, and Remy Tim. Bob Noxious with a I almost said Bob Noxious FPV. I don't know why. Bob Noxious with a $24.20 super chat. He says, I haven't been able to send one of these in a while. Put it towards your erection pump. Thank you so much, brother. We're gonna go from 390 to 4. I'm gonna round it. 414. There it is. Thank you, brother. Hey, speaking of Bob Noxious, look what I found in a box. I'm finally starting to dig into some stuff, and I'm finding all kinds of this stuff that I previously thought that I'd lost. And I found this. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to put it on the couch here, and I can surprise Bob Noxious with this on the next live stream. And then I got in really late, and yeah. I didn't surprise him. But he posted, and it made me think of it. There it is. There's the RX in Bob Noxious's screen name. This is... if I remember correctly, this is Bob Noxious's band. So yeah, check him out. Do you have band stuff on this YouTube channel, Bob, or do you have a different one? So yeah, shout out to Bob Noxious. Thanks for the shirt, homie. He sent this shirt to me ages ago, and it got put with my 1,000 other T-shirts, and it just got buried. And I'm now finding like so many really cool T-shirts that I'd put in like a plastic bin. I think this shirt was sent to me in the winter because I found this plastic bin of a ton of shirts and like all summery stuff. But I usually have very small closets, so I'll have these plastic bins, and in the summertime I'll load up all my winter shit in those bins, and then yeah. So it's awesome. You guys are going to see some fun new T-shirts, including this one that I have found. So it's one of my favorite. It's one of the few things about moving that's not like torturous. You know, getting to go to a new place, of course, is amazing. But like finding stuff that you've lost is one of my favorite things about moving. And man, I'm finding some really, really, really cool stuff. All right, let me scroll back up a little bit and get caught up on Chad. No one FPV says, I linked that Thunderbolt USB-C adapter I was talking about in your Discord. Thank you, brother. I Am Gross says, planning a toothpick build using a 2S AIO. What size motors and KV and prop size and blade count would you recommend? So I am not the guy with toothpicks. I haven't really flown a toothpick in probably about 5 years. So yeah, take this with a gigantic grain of salt. But in my totally uneducated opinion, you would want a 1204, no clue on the KV. I'm going to take a wild guess and say maybe like 8,000 kV, maybe. I could be completely wrong. That is just a complete guess out of my ass. And then prop size, I mean, that's on you. How much float do you want? 3-inch if you want a lot of float and the most efficiency you can get. 2.5-inch if you want a little bit less float, a little bit less efficiency. And then blade count is also on you. Biblades are going to be the most efficient. Triblade, but the most fragile, because when you crash, the biblade just rotates out of the way and the motor bell slams in the ground. Triblades are going to be less efficient, but they're going to crash a lot better. Triblades are also going to corner better, and they're going to be a little bit less floaty because of the like sort of cornering. It's just more plastic, bigger parachute. Even when you go zero throttle, the air mode is still working. So the propellers continue to spin at a low RPM. So the more blades there are, the more material there is to keep the thing from to keep the thing from moving through the air, basically. Yeah. Pretty. I mean, in terms of propellers, just buy a whole bunch of different ones, and because they're so cheap, and it's really, really fun to try different props. So don't drive yourself crazy with your prop selection. But yeah, motors and KV, that is a real decision because motors are a little bit more expensive. There have to be Facebook groups with toothpick freaks. Bob's motors are a really good choice. Bob's 13mm motors, I've heard really good things about. Check out Quad 66. I'm going to type it into chat. QUAD66 here on YouTube. Whatever he recommends, that's what you should run. Great pilot, super technical guy, great tuner, great builder. He's like my go-to for toothpick info. But I just haven't flown them in so long that I'm not super up on that stuff. I am working on a toothpick section for Joshua's website, though, so I started working on it before the move, and I haven't looked at it since, but I need to dive back into it. Fractalized FPV says, do you use Discogs? You can track your whole vinyl collection based on recent sales. I don't use Discogs. I don't really have anything that's really worth all that much money. I got really into vinyl for 3 or 4 months a while ago, and I was pretty close to being into it enough to start using Discogs, but I just didn't quite get there, and I just kind of had a little bit of a reality check of like, yo, you're not into vinyl, bro, you're into FPV. Like, just drop that shit and put that time back into FPV. So yeah, if I had some expensive stuff, some valuable stuff, I would be way more into doing that. But vinyl for me is just, I buy what I want to listen to, and it's just a nice way of forcing myself to sit down and actually listen to the music rather than putting music on and then cleaning the house and doing 7,000 other things. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things about listening to records is that like it doesn't force you, but like it makes sense to sit down and listen to it because in about 30 minutes it's going to hit the inner groove and you don't want to let it ride on there for too long. So yeah, and I miss the days of listening to music, right? Like we don't listen to music anymore. We have music on in the background while we're doing 7,000 other things, right? Like, we don't sit down and listen to music anymore. It's just, it's like a lost kind of thing. And it's great. And every time I do it, I absolutely love it. So I want to do it more. But it's hard. We live very busy lives nowadays, you know. But it's worth it. And if it takes, if it requires a $200 record player and you know, 15 to 20 bucks per album, you know, that's a first world problem. If I ever heard one. The whole like vinyl sounds better thing is total nonsense in my opinion. It doesn't. It sounds different, but it doesn't sound better. CDs were created specifically to be the end-all be-all platform that sounds exactly the way that the artist heard it in the recording studio. You know, if for some reason you think that better means clicks and pops and a degradation of not a degradation, but something that sounds warmer than what the artist heard, that's on you, but you're not right. You know, the musicians don't do their final mix and then have it pressed and then listen to it and then make adjustments to it. They listen to the final mix digitally because everything is recorded digitally now. Well, not everything. I guess some people are still using tape, but you know what I mean. And then when it gets pressed, it changes, and you know that's not what the artist wanted. You know, the artist during the mastering process is. Let's talk about FPV. No, and FPV says, I linked a mini DP to USB-C adapter on your Discord for 12 bucks. Nice. That's more my budget. No one. Thank you, brother. CMYK FPV says, so with that Axis flight controller, the soft mount standoffs didn't solve the issue. Still getting flyaways. Going to either swap out the flight controller with something else or flash the Axis flight controller one more time. I think what might be going on, CMYK, is that that flight controller is so lightweight that it doesn't have enough mass to stay in one place, right? Like we've talked about mass damping in the past, right? The heavier your flight controller is, the more it's going to want to stay stationary and let the quad vibrate around it. That Axis flight controller is stupidly lightweight and small. So I think what's happening is it doesn't have enough mass to stay still. So even on the rubber standoffs, it's just coming along for the ride, and it's just taking every little bit of vibration, or the gyro is blown up. But yeah, that's interesting. That's super interesting. I hate that you're having those problems. Kevin Sumner says the plug hole with the angle is full-size DisplayPort. That may not work. I thought it was called DisplayPort. Yeah, look at me. I know some things. Yeah, it is called DisplayPort. Full-size DisplayPort. Okay, I'll figure something out. I have a funny feeling I might get a dock. I really liked this dock. It's got an SD card slot on the front. It's got an extra USB port on the front, and it's got a headphone jack on the front, which is really, really, really nice to have. It's got a bunch of shit on the back too. So yeah, I love the idea of having a little dock with a couple little things here sitting on the desktop, but having that dock bomb the entire computer when I plug a quad into it is no good. And that's a thing that I've heard of. Like, I've heard that the new Macs are very picky about the dock that you hook up to them, and the docks can cause all kinds of problems. F-Stoppers tested a whole bunch of docks. So yeah, I might do that. Although the docks tend to be kind of expensive, and if I can just get like a little adapter for 20 bucks or something, or 12 bucks, realistically that's the direction that I'll go. But we'll see. We will see. Technique FPV says, so happy, bro. I hit 100 subs. Nice, Technique. Congrats, brother. Let's get Technique to 100,000. Everybody go subscribe to TEKNEEK FPV, or I'm going to burn this whole entire house down. There it is. Dropped it in the chat. Danzo the Terrible says, check out OWC docs. I'm going to go to Amazon and type OWC doc. All right, cool. I got a tab opened. I will check them out after the stream. Thank you, brother, for the recommendation. Raven187 says, have you tried the wireless connectivity to Betaflight using your ELRS receivers? I don't think it works for SBI because it's over Wi-Fi. I have not tried that, and I probably won't, to be honest. Like, it's just not all that hard to plug a cable in. And my I only have ELRS on like a couple of tiny whoops, so it's, you know, it's not like I have it on everything. If I moved over to ELRS on all my stuff, I would probably take the little bit of time to figure out how to do that, because that would be kind of cool. But just for these tiny whoops, you know, I never really hook them up to Betaflight anyway, because like the tune is just good to go. And yeah, but that is cool. I have heard about that. That is a really slick feature. There's Bob Noxious's super chat. Thanks again, homie. PJ says, no color correction. Do you use LUTs? I do not use LUTs. I just don't edit anymore. I just don't have time to do any editing. So I'm just never in a position to do color correction. Lord Henrik says, do you ever not feel like flying but wish you did feel like flying? Yeah, kind of always. Like, yeah, I mean, after, I would say after like my third or maybe fourth year, no, probably about after my third year flying, the buzz of flying kind of rolled off. And like, it's still fun when I do it, but I'm not like desperate to fly like I used to be. But then when I do go out and fly, like, I have a pretty good time. So yeah, and I know that I need to practice. Like, you know, everybody else continues to get better, and arguably a lot of times I feel like I'm getting worse. But yeah, like, I know that I need to fly. I usually have a pretty okay time when I go fly. The problem is it tends to create a lot of work. Like when I go and fly, like, it's not just go fly, come home, and all is well. It's like, go fly, it's, you know, prep batteries for a half an hour, go fly, deal with batteries for another half an hour, and then do like 2 to 5 hours of repairs. So like, going out and flying is like a huge time investment for me, typically. So yeah, and like, after a while, like, that, you can't ignore that point, and it's just like right there in front of your face. So it's like, oh, I should go out and fly, but I really don't have 5 extra hours this week to fix shit. So yeah, it's very different than it used to be, but still very, very fun, and I still love it when I actually do go out and do it. But doesn't happen often. I only fly about once a month at this point, to be really honest, if that, sometimes less than that. Bob Knox just says, my other guitarist is here too, so this is very cool of you. Love it. Hell yeah, man. Raven187 says, you flew the Nanohawk X last year, didn't you? I did. That's a toothpick. Oh, I guess it is. Yeah. That's true. I was very underwhelmed by that rig, but I mean, that's what Emacs does. They build underwhelming rigs. C Bagsy says, hello from Australia. Love your live streams. Welcome, brother. Glad you could make it. I guess it's first thing in the morning for you. Stay a while and listen. Somebody that hasn't answered already, what game's that from? T-Bird FPV says, what up beautifully? What's going on, T-Bird? Andrew S says, have you tried an air mode off switch for flings and drops? I've tried everything you can imagine for air mode. I've had air mode on a switch. I've put air mode in relation to the throttle position. For flings and drops, not having air mode is awful because you've got nothing to stabilize the quad. So it's just gonna, like, it's gonna float through the air like a leaf, and leaves usually do all kinds of weird shit that you don't want it to do. So Yeah, air mode is super, super, super important. You just kind of want it on all the time. The only realistic reason to turn air mode off is if for some reason you're super worried about like sticking to hard surfaces. Something the air mode will do is if you fly like a ducted rig, like a Cinewhoop or a Tiny Whoop, next to a wall and you brush up against the wall, it's gonna fight with thrust, and it can make the quad go like this. It can make the rig go like that, and then it gets even more confused, and it just puts a bunch of power in, and it just goes rah, and it just sticks there rah, until you disarm it. So if you find that that's happening to you very, very often, then maybe put air mode on a switch, but that shouldn't be happening that often. And yeah, in like every other situation, air mode is very, very important. So I never recommend turning air mode off. On a lot of my rigs, I have air mode on a switch, and I just never turn it off because there's just no situations other than that one very rare case that it makes any sense to turn it off. I guess you could make the case for when you're perching on something to turn air mode off, but I don't know. Perching on things is very 1999. Somebody just got super offended when I just said that. Somebody has been perching a lot lately, and they're like all psyched up on it, and I just said that, and they were just like, oh. Perching's fun. It's a good skill to have. I've been watching FPV videos for 7+ years, and it's just like, it's this old school kind of thing that like used to be super, super, super cool, and then the pilot that did it a lot kept doing it a lot, and then it just became like super played out. To me, the old guy that's been in the hobby forever. If you still think it's awesome, then continue to think it's awesome, because it's great and it's super fun. But yeah, after you've seen it a couple thousand times, it's like, really again? But it's fun, and yeah, with air mode turned off, perching on stuff is easier. Although I will say this, the real ninja pilots perch on stuff with air mode turned on, because you can still absolutely do it, but you have to perch more cleanly and more softly. So if you want to be a true gangster, and who doesn't, perch with air mode on. And then you can make fun of everybody else who perches with air mode off. Like, you perch with air mode off? Bitch, please. Kevin Sumner says, there was a place in the city where I grew up to let you pull CDs straight off the racks and listen to them at their listening bar. Nice. I heard so much cool stuff. Sadly, it died. In my mid-20s, I worked for a company called Disc Makers in New Jersey, who was the biggest CD and DVD manufacturer in the U.S. Private CD manufacturer in the U.S. And it was wild, man. I would give people, I answered phones for a while, then I got into their sales department, and I was on their sales team for like 6 years. Best job I ever had. 600 plus employees, probably 95% of them were musicians. Our Christmas party was, they would rent out a very well-known venue in Philadelphia, and all of the in-house bands would just play sets all night long. We would have like 40 or 50 different bands all night long, back to back to back to back to back. And a bunch of us in sales every Christmas would get together, practice a bunch of jams. One year we did a bunch of Black Sabbath songs. Another year we did a bunch of Zeppelin songs. Forget what we did. I think we played 3 times. The venue was World Cafe, live at the World Cafe. And super, super, super fun. And yeah, when I was an assistant in the sales department, I would actually give people tours of the building. Like a musician would come in to drop their master off for us to press it, and I would give them a tour around the building and like show them the machines that like physically melt the plastic nurdles and then injection mold the CDs against the I forget what the technical name was of the plate. that had the little tiny. So CDs are more similar to records than you would actually imagine. Instead of having a groove that goes around and around and around, it's got little indentations basically. And down is a 0, up is a 1, or vice versa. I forget which is which. But yeah, so it's got a billion tiny little pock marks in it basically. And yeah, there was a like the molding plate that had all those in. You would injection mold the plastic against that, and it would fill all those in. Versus when you burn a CD, the burned CDs have a colored dye on the bottom, like a blue or a green dye on the bottom, and the little tiny laser in your computer either hits or doesn't hit that dye. If it hits the dye, it turns it black, and that slows the light down. So that's mimicking an indentation. If you ever noticed, like a burned CD was much more fragile and like much more, they would skip much more often. They wouldn't last as long. It's because it was just little tiny black marks in a colored dye rather than a pressed CD has a physical indentation. So the laser that's reading it physically travels farther before it bounces and then comes back to form the 0 or the 1. Versus the burned CDs, it's just a black spot. So it hits the black spot and it doesn't reflect back quite as quickly. Didn't think you'd learn about pressing CDs tonight, did you? I still listen to CDs. My Mazda 2 is so old that it... Although I guess a lot of cars still have CD players, but yeah, I still have like 100 or so CDs in my car that I listen to all the time. It's great. They work well. They skip like a motherfucker, though. Veritas says, dude, what happened to your hand? So here's what's going on with my hand. Up until a month ago, and for the last 20 years, I've lived in apartments. In my opinion, the fact that you're not getting any equity out of your rent in the apartments has always meant that you better be goddamn certain that if anything goes wrong in the apartment, I ain't lifting a fucking finger. Your maintenance people are getting their asses out here and fixing it. And that's always been the case. Like, even if I could fix something, I'm like, nah, bro. Like, I'm paying an exorbitant amount of money to live in an apartment and have a maintenance team. So they're getting their asses out here and fixing this while I try to make the money back to pay for this super expensive shithole, typically, that I get no equity from. So I've lived a life where I sit at a desk and live stream. I come over here and build stuff using little tiny motions. Every once in a while, I would work on my car in the parking lot, and I would be like wrecked for days from just moving around working on the car. But that was it. Now, for the last month or so, I've been living in a house that needs... It doesn't need, but it can use a whole bunch of stuff. And so I'm doing all kinds of stuff, right? I've got a 2-car garage now. Maggie and I have a ton of stuff that's constantly being moved around. And I'm just using my hands. I'm picking stuff up, painting the wall. You know, I've been cranking on this wall over here. I think that's what did it. I did painter's white on this wall, so I rolled it out like crazy, and then I was using a paintbrush to do all the edging, and I did the edging again. So I'm just moving my hands and my arms and my whole body around more than I ever have before, and I'm kind of falling to pieces. I am sure that I'm slowly getting stronger. It certainly doesn't feel like it, but yeah, at the moment I'm just kind of falling to pieces. But it won't be like that forever, and I need to be able to get stuff done. I can't afford to, you know, pay $200, $300, $400, $500 for somebody to come out every single time something goes wrong. So yeah, I just have to kind of suck it up and do this for a while and just be in pain all day, every day. I'll live. And that's what happened to my hand. 2 days ago, just all of a sudden, my hand just started to really, really, really hurt. My hand and my wrist just started really hurting. And I don't need to wrap it, but if it's not wrapped, then there's so much stuff to do that I end up doing stuff, and it makes it worse, and I just keep hurting it over and over and over again. It's actually been going on for a while. Like, my wrist and hand have been bothering me for a couple of weeks now, and yeah, I'm just making it worse because there's just so much to do and I can't help myself. And having this wrap just reminds me to stop and just let it rest. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's my life at the moment. Compost Pile says, funny, Ciotti, I'm playing Diablo. Nice. That's what Stay a While and Listen's from, Diablo. Veritas Weasel says, once you're no longer desperate to fly, you're just desperate. Whatever makes your prop spin and pushes your stick up is a great thing. That's what she said. Jesus. Brandon's Baked Beans says, I set my switch so angle mode turns off air mode. I like landing this way, and I never forget if air mode or acro is on. I had that set up for a while until I got tired of air mode and moved over to Horizon. I guess you could do that on Horizon. I don't think that angle mode will use air mode, though, right? Because doesn't angle mode have its own kind of PID controller setup, I thought? Maybe not. I forget. It's been a long time since I thought about that. Somebody said perching is played out like drifting videos. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to watch an FPV drifting video that's not like by Johnny FPV or like one of the absolute bomb squad pilots, just because it's just so saturated, right? That I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. You guys should actually absolutely go fly a drift event. It is incredibly fun. The reason why we're so saturated with FPV drifting videos is because it's a fucking super fun time, and the drift cars are so slow to accelerate and slow down and corner that the way that our quads fly is a great match for them. So yeah, we are saturated with that footage for good reason, and you should absolutely go fly one of their a drift event, but don't put 20 hours into an edit and put it up on YouTube and expect anybody to watch it, because nobody's going to watch it. Anybody that does watch it is going to probably talk shit. And yeah, that's just kind of the way it is. But incredibly fun. If you haven't flown anything that's absolutely mind-blowing and you go fly a drift event, you will absolutely come away from that saying to yourself, holy shit, that's the most fun I've ever had flying. It's really that good. It's amazing. R. Dodd says, I have the Beta FPV cheap goggles with no aftermarket or even external antennas. I'm new, so I don't know. Will the Singularity work with those goggles, or should I just stick to the default? So if you don't have an external antenna, then I'm assuming that there's not an SMA port for you to screw the Singularity into. So yeah, it doesn't sound like it'll work. But if there is an SMA little screw port, it's the opposite of what's on the Singularity antenna. Oh, Ardot, are you talking about on the quad? On the quad, absolutely, you should run a Singularity. It's actually this rig that has it. It's gonna make a huge difference. But yeah, if you were talking about on your goggles, then I don't think that you've got the port required to plug the Singularity into. I hate to be mean, little ant, but when you little fuckers bite me, it's a real problem, so you just got flicked into oblivion. I just did one of these to an ant. I love the movie Ants. I think they're adorable little bastards, but man, when they bite me, it is just atrocious. I must be somewhat allergic to them because it's just absolutely brutal when I get bitten by even black ants. It's really kind of unbelievable, the reaction that I have to being bitten by ants. It just burns. It just burns like hell. Kevin Sumner says, isn't that pressing record called the Gold Master? No, when you see, like, when somebody has a record that goes gold and they give them that plaque with the gold record in there, I don't think that's a master, but disc makers, when I worked there, they actually didn't press vinyl, so I actually don't have any experience in vinyl pressing, only CD and DVD. And the CD, it's not called the master, believe it or not. The CD, whatever the hell it's called, mold or something, might be called a master. I'm not sure. It's actually nickel plated. It's not impressive looking. It's just a shiny piece of nickel. You can't see anything in it. So like we used to have artists that would be like, hey, can I get the master or whatever? And we would have to tell them no, because A, it looks stupid. It doesn't look like anything. And B, it actually gets ruined during the process. It's like bordering on being a clean room in there. And so if you were to take that nickel-plated master like out of that room, it would not react well, and it would just look like hell, and it's just not something that we give people. They get destroyed. But yeah, I forget what it's called. It's been a long time. It's been almost 15 years since I worked there. Momo Slappy says, I'm looking to build an updated 5-inch. Ideas for motors and frame. I like high-speed cruising style. My last build was a 4S Catalyst Machine Works Speed Addict 210 V2, and 6S wasn't really a thing yet. Thanks. My favorite frame is the FPV Cycle Glide. It's very inexpensive. It's a little bit hard to get a hold of because Bob's stuff just sells really well. Another really good 5-inch frame would be the AOS 5, Chris Rosser's frame. And then the Impulse RC Apex is a great frame. Unbelievably expensive. Like, you know, understand what the Apex frame, a big chunk of your money is going directly to steel. If you're a fan of his, awesome. But just understand that, like, the frame is almost $100. Frames don't cost anywhere near $100 to make. The FPV Cycle Glide frame is a great example of that. It's like $50. The Source One is another great example of that. It's like $25. That's what frames cost. Anything more than that, and it's just money padding someone's bank account, which is fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but just understand that a huge chunk of the money is just going directly to like a person. So yeah, like the AOS and the Glide frame are a much better deal for you than the Apex frame would be. But really, those are like the three, in my opinion at least, those are the three frames that have really stood out, like above and beyond everything else. And I've flown an awful lot of frames, so yeah, there's a good amount of actual real-life experience behind that, rather than just, oh, this one looks cool, you should buy this one, right? Be careful when you ask that kind of question on Facebook, because 99% of the responses you're going to get are from people who've only ever built one frame, and they're gonna recommend that frame as if it's God's gift to frames. So when you ask questions on Facebook, make sure that you reply back to all of the comments and say, hey, what other frame, if you're asking this question, hey, what other frames have you flown, and how much time have you flown them for, how many batteries have you put through them? And you'll find that most people either haven't flown any other frames, or they've put 10 batteries through another frame and gave up, or it's really hard to find good data. So be really careful about who you're taking information from, and do your homework, because this shit's expensive, and it's not really expensive, but it's not free. And most people just make recommendations based on like no info, because like everybody wants to help, but nobody wants to not be, like, everybody wants to think that they're, the God's gift to pilots and the smartest person in the entire world. So they're typically not going to volunteer the info of like, hey, this is the only frame I've ever flown, but it's the greatest frame in the world ever. Definitely, for sure. There's no other frame better than it. So careful with that. Make sure that you're seeking out people who actually have experience, and have been around for quite a while, and hopefully like fly similar to you, right? Like, If you fly long range, you want to get information from long range people. That ain't me. I'm a freestyle guy that crashes into cement constantly. So if that's the type of flying that you're going to do, my recommendations are extra dialed in for you. To some extent, a good frame is a good frame, but there's a lot of specialization out there. So yeah, keep that in mind. Motors. My motor recommendation is, again, for freestyle, T-Motor F40 Pro 4s are my absolute favorites. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense to get any of the cheaper motors because they're going to break much more often, and the fact that they cost less money is going to end up costing you more in time and replacement costs. So the titanium motor shaft motors, in my experience, are well worth the extra $10 or so, $10 to $15 that they're going to cost. I know it seems like they're a lot more expensive, but they are so much stronger, and that's going to save you both time and money because you're not going to have to buy replacements as often, and then you're not going to have to spend your time swapping them out as often, and you're going to get to fly more. Like literally, when you go out to the field and you smash into something at 30 miles an hour, a titanium shaft motor might be fine. A stainless steel shaft eco motor has much less of a chance at being fine, and then you're headed home, and that sucks. So yeah, yeah, there you go. T-Bird says that's what she said at 8:59. I wonder what I was talking about. Ram Dago says power naps rule. Oh man, I wish I'd had time today to take a nap. Good Lord, I'm just broken. I'm just absolutely broken. Scrolling back up in chat. Good Lord, you guys are filled with good questions tonight. Are there a lot of people in here or something? Wow, 68 people. Jesus, you guys like Whoop Wednesday, huh? Do you guys like Whoop Wednesday, or is Wednesday at 8 o'clock a good time slot for a lot of people to hang out? Bulldog FPV says, like my old man said when I bought my first house, congrats, you officially have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out. Speaking of, at some point, I'm going to, I might need to go into the bathroom and dump this water out the door, but we'll see. Ardod says, sorry, meant the singularity on the Whoop. Awesome, I got there. On that side note, right-hand circular polarized or left-hand circular polarized, whatever your goggles are, more than likely your goggles are right-hand. Right-hand is the standard for analog. Left-hand is the standard for DJI. So yeah, it's usually best to just stick with the standard. Paul McDonald says, Ant Ritter. Oh my god, here we go. No One FPV says, I effing hate fire ants. Yeah, fire ants really fuck me up. Good god. When I get hit by a fire ant, you know how like you'll get a tiny little pus spot? Not me. The pus spot that I get is the size of a dime, and then the rest of like the wound or whatever is like this big. It's like the size of a softball. It's absolutely awful. I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. Oh, the poor little ant is like all mangled now. I'll flick him again. Maybe he'll die this time. Sorry, buddy. I just, you know, I have thumbs. Fuck off. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I'm like, when I'm outside, I'm super paranoid about ants. It's really annoying. Because like, you know, I want to be able to enjoy myself outside, but like instead it's just like, it's really like, it's really bad. Ardod says, I asked because the options on the one you suggest is right-hand circular polarized or left-hand circular polarized, and I don't know if it matters when I don't have either on the goggles. The goggles are more than likely right-hand circular polarized, unless they've got a linear antenna in them. But yeah, like I said, right-hand circular polarized is absolutely the standard for analog. It is very, very, very unusual that anyone flying analog is using left-hand circular polarized, and I've never seen a company make a set of analog goggles with a built-in antenna that was left-hand circular polarized. They all do them in right hand. So, yeah, you're super safe with right hand. Kiz Bartlett says, hey, hold me closer, Gagly Dancer. Jesus. Metaldurskin says, in software, they call the final release to manufacture the gold version. I thought that came from recording, but I might be wrong. No, you're right, Metal, but it comes from vinyl. It comes from the vinyl community, which I was not in. Disc Makers was CDs and DVDs only by the time I got there. Many, many, many years prior to me working there, they did press vinyl, but that's when they were in downtown Philadelphia, and that was a whole different kind of time. That was also back when they would do the album artwork like a fucking art project for school. Like, they would, like, people would physically, like, do it, like, print shit out, and, like, it was just outrageous. Not all the time, but yeah, when I started working there in 2002, 2003 maybe, they hadn't pressed vinyl in like 20 years. When I was working there, also, vinyl was dead. Like, in the 2000s, nobody was talking about vinyl. Like, you know, today, there's this, like, huge resurgence, and, like, vinyl arguably kind of maybe saved the recording industry about 5 or so years ago. But in the 2000s, nah, man, like, vinyl was not cool. Like, CDs were cool. The cloud was cool. While I was working for Disc Makers, we took a huge hit with the explosion of cloud-based music. And there were a lot of layoffs. That company went from like 600 to 400 employees over the course of like a 2-year period when everybody started listening to music online. It was really sad because it was a family-owned business, and it was just such an incredible company. Everybody there cared about quality and treating the customers right and treating the employees right. And, like, it completely ruined me. Like, it totally ruined me. Every single job I had after that, I hated because it couldn't stand up. Like, it was just such a unique and incredible environment to be in. And in my professional working for other people career, I was never able to find a job that could even remotely hold a candle to my time at Disc Makers. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have been a part of that company. But at the same time, like, man, it made it hard. It made it very hard to work anywhere else after that. Just because it was so good. It's kind of wild how that works. Lord Henrik says, would you use your PIDs on a new build with a new ESC and flight controller, or would you retune from Betaflight defaults? Tuning is kind of not really needed anymore, to be honest with you, man. Betaflight 4.3 on the stock PIDs, if you have a good frame, a good set of motors, and you've tightened everything down, you're done. Like, just put it up in the air and fly it. There are almost no bad behaviors. The filtering is now pretty aggressive, and you're just done. You'll notice that there's been practically no content from UAV Tech or Chris Rosser surrounding tuning in 4.3, and this is kind of why. Like, the Betaflight developers went aggressive enough on the PIDs and the filtering where it's just, yeah, we just don't need to tune anymore. So for the most part, anything that I build that's not underpowered just gets stock Betaflight 4.3 and just focus on flying it. Don't waste any time or brain power thinking about or learning tuning. And that's a really good thing, right? Because, like, we already kind of started to see that with 4.2. But yeah, over the last, like, year and a half, There have been a whole bunch of brand new pilots that have popped up, and they've gotten staggeringly good, staggeringly quickly. And I think one of the biggest things is they just have put 100% of their brain power towards flying and learning to fly better and focusing on just flying, rather than A, spending time thinking about and learning tuning, but also B, blaming their tune for everything, right? Like, if you go out and you fly, and every single time something bad happens, you go, oh man, this fucking tune just sucks so bad, you're not going to get better as a pilot. If every time something bad happens, you go, oh man, I should have done that better, guess what? You're going to get better. When you fail, that's when you learn. When you blame someone else or something else, you don't learn shit. You learn that you hate whatever that thing is that you're just mindlessly blaming. So yeah, we're really getting to see pilots progress at a much, much, much faster rate, in my opinion, now that we don't have something that's like so easy to blame for like kind of everything, right? So yeah, really no need to tune anymore. It's kind of crazy. Metal Ertskin with a $7.77 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, watching, listening while packing for West Coast Throwdown. I'll be humiliated in racing, but it's going to be awesome. Man, I totally forgot about West Coast Throwdown. I wanted to try to go there. I really wanted to try to get there. I guess it's this weekend. Damn. That was my excuse to see Oregon. I've wanted to, for a long time I wanted to move to Oregon. But yeah, I had planned on getting to West Coast Throwdown this year to check out Oregon. I can't believe I can totally believe that I completely forgot it, but yeah. Veritas Weasel says, are they fire ants biting you? Be careful, you can go into anaphylactic shock and die. It wouldn't hurt to have an EpiPen around just in the event you get several bites. So I have been bitten by fire ants when I lived in Charleston. Both times I was flying. The first time was not that bad. The second time was really nasty. The second time I stood onto, I got ready to fly, and like I must have taken a step forward, and I stepped right into a big pile of them. I started flying, 15-20 seconds go by, and I realized that they were all over me. Pulled the goggles down, and my one leg was completely covered in them, and they were coming up my other leg. So I brushed them off and ran to the car. My apartment was right next to an urgent care, and so the first time I got stung by them, bitten by them, it was like 3 or 4, I think. But this time it was a ton of them, and the entire drive, my plan was, I'm driving in the same direction. If I start to if my throat starts to close up, I drive past my apartment to the urgent care. So like the entire drive back, which was all of like 5 minutes, I was like on purpose, like trying to breathe deeply to see like if I could catch my throat closing up early enough to call 911 or whatever. But I was actually completely fine. And then later, I discovered that apparently some black ants will bite you, and it's nowhere near as awful, but it's still really nasty when I get bit by black ants. But yeah, it doesn't seem that I have any kind of a, like, it seems like I'm just, my skin, I guess, is just allergic to them or some shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. JF says called the stamper. I think that is what it's called. I think it's called it's a more fancy word than that, but I think the word stamper is used because that's what's being happened. Like the plastic gets molded and it kind of stamps it. So yeah. Brandon's Baked Beans says Apex is overpriced in my opinion. Looks pretty when built up. It is a good looking frame, but yeah, it's a ton of money. Lord Henrik says, it seems like a lot of pro pilots hate on steel. Do you have any opinion of why that may be? Yes, but I'm not going to say it on a public live stream. Sorry. But yeah, I do have an opinion on that. I want to say that I there's not much that I can say that won't get me in trouble in some way or another. But yes, I do have an opinion on that. I have to leave it there. No one FPV says, is the stamper the term you're looking for? I think it is, but there was a, like I said, there was a fancier name for it. Where we at? YouTube just did the thing, trying to find my place, yada yada yada.
諦めんなよ。諦めんなお前。どうしてそこでやめるんだそこで。もう少し頑張ってみろよ。ダメ諦めたら。周りのことを思うよ。応援してる人たちのことを思ってみろって。あともうちょっとのところなんだから。俺だってこのマイナス10度のところ、しじみが取れるって頑張ってんだよ。絶対やってみろ。必ず目標達成できる。だからこそ、イエロービバ。
Didn't expect that, did you? That was a Clamman sneak attack right from behind. Blizzard FPV with a $5 Canadian super chat. He says, T-shirts, please. I have thumbs. Fuck off. Did I say that? Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? No one FPV says you have either mire or mechaphobia. Is that a fear of ants, I guess? Blizzard, thank you for the support, my man. Very cool of you. Denzel the Terrible says, do we have to talk about bus spots? We do not. Veritas Weasel says, we like our Ciotti time. Whoop Wednesday is the icing on the cake. Thank you, dude. Grizz FPV says, sure do, brother. I am Gross says, I love Whoop Wednesday. All right, so it's a working night. Shift stream is good timing. Lord Henrik says, interesting. Ramdanko says vinyl is back. You can choose your thickness for longevity, etc. I can't get it. I'm gonna keep this as short as I can. The thickness of the vinyl is not a one-to-one relation to how it sounds. Don't get fooled into thinking that the heaviest. They rate vinyl in gram, 180 gram, 150 gram, blah blah. That does not equate directly to how good it sounds. The finding the heaviest record does not mean it's going to sound the best. The quality control is the most important thing for the record. We'll leave it there. Kiz Bartlett says, be careful anyway, even if you have been fined for an hour, repeated exposure to bites could manifest into an allergic reaction. It's why people who regularly handle money develop reactions to the ink. I didn't know about that. That's wild. What the hell is that about? That's gotta suck. Well, actually, it doesn't have to suck, because when was the last time you actually touched paper money? Or metal money, for that matter. Let's fly. I've got a second. I don't know how this is gonna go. I mean, I can always just unwrap my hand, but if my hand starts bothering me, I'm gonna stop because I want to let it heal. I don't want to just keep beating on it or beating off with it. All right, so I have a second. I hooked up the second USB hub, which is very exciting. Although, yeah, no, we're fine. I hope I don't forget to unplug this this VRX. It gets really hot. You know, it's hard to just use your left arm for everything. When I dislocated my shoulder, it was my left shoulder. And so I used my right arm for everything for like 3 months. And I gotta be honest, it's noticeably worse having your dominant arm be the useless one, which is kind of interesting. I did not expect that. All right, people. Let's get to business here. So the first thing we're going to test, I'm going to fly this thing upstairs, and I'm going to go as far away as I possibly can. I'm going to go all the way up to the loft in the back, and I'm going to, what I'll probably do is find a little spot to land it, and then we'll land the other rig in the exact same spot. We're going to point it in the same direction, and we're going to see the difference in RSSI between a janky little piece of wire that I've used where on the flight controller where the ceramic antenna broke off, versus a perfectly functioning Mobula 6 ELRS with the ceramic antenna still attached. So we're gonna try the perfectly working rig first to get our baseline, and then we're gonna try the janky one. And I genuinely have no idea how this is gonna go. I have a funny feeling that it's gonna be pretty it's gonna be pretty similar. The piece of wire that I used was from an RXSR antenna, which is tuned for 2.4 gigahertz. But I think it's like I think it's like 1/5 of the appropriate length or something like that. I don't know, I forget. But it's not just like a piece of random wire. So yeah, it's not. I'm saying janky because it's a little janky, little jank, but it's not like, you know, I didn't just grab a random piece of what. Where we at? I didn't just like grab a random piece of wire, right? So it's not ultra janky, but a little janky, a little janky jankopotamus, you know. Know what I'm saying? Like, clean these goggles. How the fuck do my goggles get so dirty? Like, what's touching these lenses? And why is it touching them? Alright, people. So this is the 0702 30,000 kV rig. R-Dot asking about analog monitors. I have no clue, brother. Somebody sent me one a long time ago, and I've been using that ever since. I've never really, like, looked into which monitors are good and which ones aren't. So I'm going to show you guys something up here. Oh man, look at the RSSI in the 50s already. Yo, the antenna's going to win. Although, no, now it's up to... Yeah, yo, the antenna's going to win. So this is the ceramic antenna. Some of you guys will know what these are. You guys know what those are? So this is one of the reasons that my mom came down. This is my drum set in the hard cases. So I'm going to land on this 12-inch tom case. And I'm going to leave it armed. So we've got 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Let me do this, though. I want to point it in the same direction. So what I'm doing is I'm centering the ceiling fan. And we're at... Why is it moving around so much? It goes from 45 all the way up to 52. So there you guys go. 45, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I'm keeping the transmitter steady in my lap. I don't know why it's varying so much. But there you go. There are your numbers, all right? We've seen it moving from basically 51 to 44. So I'm so curious as to... oh, farts. I'm so curious that I'm actually going to bring this back right now and put the other rig up in the air. I have to know. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that the little piece of wire is going to win. Because I was flying this other rig around up there at the end of last live stream, and I'm pretty sure it was getting better numbers than that. I didn't like park it in that exact same spot though, so I could totally be wrong, but we're about to find out because I'm putting it in. I'm putting the battery in right now, and here we go. I don't even have this antenna like sitting up. It's like sitting flat against the board. I guess I should stick this antenna up a little bit to give it a little bit better of a chance. Alright, so now this antenna is just... I mean, it's still... And it's also, like, bent in there. Like, this is not... I'm not giving it a great chance. But let's see. Oh, come on now. There we go. Alright, this is the exact same AIO. And... oh, God. Yeah, it's better. Look at these numbers up here. Alright, we're parked in the same spot. And we're going to rotate it. Yeah, look at it up in the 60s. Wow, the ceramic antenna sucks so hard. Alright, so there's the... look at that. 58, 60, 61, 63. Holy shit. All right, there you guys have it. Break off your ceramic antennas and put a janky piece of wire on for better performance. That's like. Let me at least move. I'm moving myself around in my chair a little bit, just to make sure that it doesn't like dump down really low, and it's not. No, like that is so obviously better. There's also quite a bit more up tilt on this rig, which would explain an awful lot. Felt kind of weird to fly it the other day. Wow, that I did not expect that even a little bit. That's a pretty damning thing, because this little piece of wire is absolutely lighter weight than the ceramic antenna. I gotta get this fan to spin the opposite direction. It's so much harder to do orbits in this direction. But I really want to get this locked in so I can... Oh! God, that was too close. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, boy. This might be hard to get it out of here. Nope, we're good. Oh, I thought I could get over it at the last second. I was wrong. Rejected. All right, so this is the 080... So now that we figured that out, this is the 0802 25,000 rig. Oh, God, fan.
6, 5, 4.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any of the gates set up because I was just so late getting here. But you really don't need gates in this place. There's just some really cool little paths, and look at that. Oh, that's good. Oh, boy. I ain't going to make it back, am I? Oh, use the momentum. Use the momentum. Oh, don't crash, you idiot. Oh. Come on. Make it. Make it. Make it. Make it. Make it. Don't make me walk. Oh, God. Oh, I forgot to charge this goggle battery. So that's the 0802s. Let me even up the... Oh, my God. There's so much up tilt. Okay. There we go. All right, that is much better. All right, so this is going to be a lot easier to fly with this much less aggressive up tilt. Let me really quickly screw these little screws down in hopes that it doesn't lose this lower up tilt. There's one, and here is the other. Cool. All right, so we're going to fly this 0802 25,000 rig again, and try to get used to these motors, and then I'm going to switch to the 0702 rig, and yeah, motors and props. So this guy that we were just flying and we're going to continue to fly is on the Happy model 0802 25,000s with the Gemfan triblades. Up until the 0702 30,000s, Glenn Burnett says, I'm reporting different things. How so? 661 FPV says RSSI means nothing on ELRS. Does it really mean nothing? I mean, because... I mean, I can see it being less important, but I wouldn't think that it means nothing, especially because we're getting different values, right? Oh man, you fucking pieces of shit. I can't let you guys listen to the beeping the entire time. I have to switch out this dog shit ass Fat Shark battery. Yeah, I wouldn't think that it means literally nothing, but I could totally be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Did I not have RSSI in there? Why the hell do I not have RSSI in there? That's the real question that we should be asking. Where's the RSSI value? Interesting. How come the RSSI means nothing on Express LRS? Does it not monitor RSSI? If so, that's a little scary. I want to have RSSI. That makes me not... That's a ding on ELRS, because RSSI is important. You can make a very strong argument for link quality being way more important, but RSSI is important for different. It's a different measurement. and it's got value. It definitely has value, that's for sure. All right, so this is the 0802 25,000 kV rig, and I just bashed it into the refrigerator. So one of the things is that this rig is quite a bit heavier. These 0802s are, it's kind of crazy how much heavier they are than 0702s. And I've also got a much heavier propeller on here. So this rig is like almost 2 grams heavier than the one that we're going to fly in a minute. But it's still pretty lightweight. And these motors have significantly more stator volume than the 0702s. And so yeah, what I'm just doing is kind of trying to get used to them. I can already kind of tell, if I'm super honest, that that it's got less jam than the 0702 rig. The 0702 rig, remember, ooh, that was the ceiling. I haven't hit the ceiling yet. The 0702 rig is 30,000 kV on biblades, and there's some real magic to those biblades. I gotta be honest. Woo. But as you can see, this still has plenty of power. Oh no, I missed it. Oh, we went backwards through the railing. That'll never happen again. Yeah, still plenty of power. This was my preferred tiny whoop setup for a long time. I forgot about the mirror, I'm gonna be honest. What's up here? I just saw something up here. Oh, that's a roach trap. Let's visit the mosquito gun. Let's say hi to the mosquito gun. Here it is. There's the mosquito killing gun. There's the front part, and there's the little trigger. Woo! Shit, that was smooth. All right, let's do a little bit of downstairs flying. So what I will absolutely notice is that the weight of the 0702 rig will make it work a lot better down here in the basement. And to be totally honest, I can already kind of tell that yes, this rig has more thrust, for sure. Definitely has more thrust, but it's also got more weight. And I can already kind of tell, not totally certain, but pretty certain, that yeah, the power to weight ratio is just not quite as good as this other rig. We're gonna go directly to the 0702 30,000 kV rig because I think it's gonna be pretty obvious. I think the difference is gonna be pretty easy for me to determine here. And then maybe after a battery on this, we'll go back to the 0802 rig, or maybe not. I don't know. I am looking to like unify these tiny whoops and have multiples with the same motor setup and just the same setup, basically top to bottom, and I felt like for a while that was going to be 0702 30,000s, but I haven't been totally sure. Yeah, no, this has more. This is, I mean, can you see? You guys can see it, right? So let's go up here and do some of these big ass movements. It's really incredible what the reduction in weight from these motors does to these tiny whoops. It's really impressive. Yeah, see that, and you notice. Here's the other thing: is the float. See that float? This has significantly more float with the 0802 rig, which is identical. It just doesn't have as much hang time. It just comes back down to the ground. Woo! I'm being real ballsy with this fan because it's not on high power. I don't think that this speed on the fan will completely demolish one of these tiny whoops. On high, the fan absolutely will. So I'm being real ballsy right now. This is the setup, though, for the record. Absolutely, without question. This is... Oh, I might have to go get that. Nope, we good. This is it. This is the setup. This is just... better. Oh, this is just... I don't want to say better to fly, but... come on. Come on. It's... I gotta concentrate when I'm messing with Maggie, because I don't want to get it stuck in her hair. See if we can get her to step on it tonight. Whee! What's she doing? Sleeping? What, you sleeping in there, girl? Taking naps? Hey-ya! Ooh, we get lucky again with the fan. Look at this. Look how this rig flies. I mean, the 0802 rig flies totally fine, but this is just, like... Oh, this is next level. Oh, I almost cleared it. So close. Look at that! Like, see, and it's that kind of stuff. Like, when I really get into it, like, when I'm really kind of feeling it, this 0702 rig... It's that whole, like, oh, it reads your mind thing, you know? Like, all the people that got all fucking insane about Tracer. Oh, it reads your mind. Or just, you know, anything. It has more of that, like, read your mind kind of vibe to it. Would the 0802 30,000s be better? I don't think so. Because they're just heavier. I think the magic of this rig is these 0702s. And I've actually talked to Jesse Perkins from tinywhoop.com at length about this, and he agrees. Like, there is just a magic to the 0702s that, like... yeah, I mean, it's this weight on the ends of the arms thing, right? But also all up weight. Like, the tiny whoops are very sensitive to all up weight. So let me really quickly get caught up on chat because I am quite a bit behind. Is there a recommendation for cleaning goggle lenses? I use my t-shirt. Ardod says, another question, which analog miner do you recommend? Talked about that. 661 says, the ceramic ELRS antenna pads are 3 grounds and 1 active pad. Did you get it on the right pad? When I first did it on the stream, I put it on the wrong pad. It looks like we're not flying another battery because the Betaflight charger did not charge this battery up. That kind of sucks. I was just starting to have fun. That's okay though. We fly all the time. Yeah, so the first time I did it on on the most recent live stream, I put it on the wrong pad, and then I moved it over 1 pad, and that just happened to be the right pad, which is pretty awesome. I didn't realize that it's 3 grounds and 1 active. That's kind of interesting. And look at me, I remembered to unplug the VRX. Genius. 10 more minutes on the live stream. Drop your questions, and then, yeah, about 10 o'clock we're going to wrap this thing up. But not until the questions are all answered, as always. Hey, by the way, this is my full-time job. If you'd like to see these live streams continue, I need your help. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Join my Patreon. That helps me out the most. You could do it for 10 cents a day. It makes a huge difference. The Patreon is the reason that I can do this. Straight up, no questions asked. It is why I can continue to do this. There's also a bunch of affiliate links. Next time you're buying something FPV related or on Amazon, think about the creators. We need your help. You can give us free money by just clicking a link before you check out. So when you buy shit online, think about creators, because you can literally allow someone to have the job of their dreams by just clicking their link before you do your order. It takes 3 seconds, and it's literally free money. Amazon.com, FPV Cycle, Oh My God's website, Get FPV. I have a whole shitload of affiliate links. The other thing that you can do is replace your link to Get FPV or FPV Cycle or any of these other places with my affiliate link. And then every time you click your link to go to Get FPV, you've clicked my affiliate link, and my info will automatically be added to your shopping cart, and then when you check out, it'll just work. So yeah, do us creators a huge favor and just use, do whatever it takes to use affiliate links, because again, it's literally free money. Buy yourself something nice on my Etsy store or Teespring. Get yourself a cool t-shirt or a sticker or a mug or something like that, or a Kill All Carbon. Has anybody ordered a Kill All Carbon tote bag yet? I swear to God, guys, I'm telling you, you need a goddamn tote bag. It's just like, that you've got like one thing that you want to bring with you sometimes that doesn't fit in your flight bag. You can put it in here. Or if you take this literally, you can break your shit and then put the goddamn broken carbon fiber in this bag so that you don't have shards of carbon fiber stabbing you in your flight bag. Yeah, I'm telling you, you're gonna love my nuts. Get yourself a Kill All Carbon tote bag. It'll be the best thing you've ever bought in your entire life. Kiz Bartlett says, turntable cartridges and needles also help in quality sound. I've got a pair of Vestax turntables and Shure cartridges, and not only is the sound stellar, they track like a boss. Yeah, you can make vinyl sound really, really, really good, but it will absolutely never, ever, ever sound as good as a CD, because CD, it was specifically created to be lossless is not the right word for it, but basically CDs were created to be the end-all be-all. Good enough quality that the human ear cannot, like, so that after CDs they came out with super audio CDs, and there's no difference. Sometimes they get mastered differently and they sound differently, but from a human ear perspective, there's no difference. CDs were very specifically created and brilliantly designed to provide high enough highs and low enough lows that our ears, that it's basically lossless to our ears. So yeah, CDs are the end-all be-all. If you want to hear what the artists heard when they signed off on it and said, yes, make me 1 million of these, it's a CD. It's never a vinyl. It's never going to be a record. If you like the way that records sound, though, that's great. I love that for you. But this argument of vinyl sounds better is well, I guess the word, if you use the word better, then it opens it up, right? But I think it's hard to make the argument that anything other, that like, in 100% of the cases, what the artist heard is worse than what it sounds like on vinyl, right? Does that make sense? I don't know. To me, I actually don't like the way that vinyl sounds. I hate the cracks and pops. When I'm playing it really loud, the crackles and pops are deafening, and it's a bitch to deal with. It's heavy as hell. It's a pain in the ass to move. It's fragile. Like, there's all kinds of problems with vinyl, but it's the only way I can sit down and listen to something. And there is a nostalgia to it, and there is a process to it, and it is weirdly fun to kind of deal with all this pain in the ass. And it is fascinating that, like, you're holding the thing and you can see it, like there's something to it, but it doesn't sound good. And I have a really decent turntable. I have a U-turn turntable with a Ortophone cartridge. It's pretty decent. Going through a $5,000 home theater setup with a shitmanny, I don't know, but I have good stuff. So I don't have like a fucking Crosley, and I'm saying that vinyl sounds like ass. Like, I have a decent setup, and I've heard records played on $100,000 setups, and it's all the same thing. It's not all the same thing, but it's still not as good. Glenn Burnett says, "Isn't that your VTX RSSI?" It shouldn't be. It should be the transmitter link RSSI. 661 says minimum link 91%. I don't know what that means. All right, here we go. Now we're gonna get caught up. 661 says no LQ on this rig. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I don't have LQ turned on either one of those. Wait, did I have LQ turned on one but not the other? Please tell me that's not the case. Why the hell don't I have LQ turned on those rigs? I don't have a cable. Whatever. 661 says, I guess RSSI kind of means something, but the way LoRa works, LQ and dBm is what matters. I agree, but if I've got two identical rigs and one of them is showing drastically higher RSSI values, I can't possibly imagine that doesn't mean that the little piece of wire is either just as good or better. You know what I'm saying? Bob Noxious says you need to turn on LQ for this rig and RSSI in dB. I guess I don't have LQ on the one rig. That's super annoying. 661 says, and turn on minimum link and minimum dBn in post-flight statistics. I Am Gross says, what is different between the two rigs besides motors and props? Nothing. Tuner Taxi says, well, the antenna, right? That's what we're choosing. Tuner Taxi says, are you going to rumble in the jungle? I know you're probably not, but figured I'd ask. No, I meant to. That was absolutely the plan, but I just completely forgot about it. Kevin Sumner says, get a Whoop store, treat yourself. I have a ton of different ways to charge Whoop batteries, but I keep using this stupid ass Betaflight. You know what? You know what? Watch this. Well, no. Let me not do this. Let me not be a complete. I was gonna smash this with a hammer for you guys and throw it away. But this is a really handy little charger. I just need to figure out one of these ports does not charge, and I just need to figure out which port that is. And all that means is that I have to charge 6 batteries on this before like not when I'm streaming, and then take each battery off and plug it into the goddamn voltage checker, and then I'll just put a black mark on that port and then we're good. But this is handy because it's USB-C, and it's just whatever. But yeah, one of those ports does not charge and it keeps biting me in the ass. Kiz Bartlett says, gotta love Jesse, just tell him to stock more motors. iGow is back and the out of stock message is strong. Jesse ordered the maximum number. So this is the same thing with Bob from FPV Cycle. These guys order the absolute maximum that they're allowed to from these manufacturers. And then they reorder as soon as they like they literally buy as much stock as they possibly can, not how much money they have, but how much these manufacturers will allow them to buy. So when FPV Cycle and when Tiny Whoop go out of stock, you cannot blame them. They're doing literally everything that they possibly can. They are throwing money at these manufacturers. You have to blame the manufacturers. So you're going to blame Happy Model for the Tiny Whoop motors not being in stock because they make them. And then Bob moves around. Bob moves around manufacturers because he can't find one that'll make enough of the stuff that he wants. So that there's nobody specific that we can blame for the FPV Cycle stuff being out of stock. But yeah, never get upset with Jesse at Tiny Whoop or Bob at FPV Cycle for not having in stock. There's nothing else they can do. There's just absolutely not. Well, there is something else they can do. They can go with a shittier quality manufacturer and sell you something worse. But that's not their deal. They're about making good quality stuff. So, and if you want something shittier, there's plenty of other companies out there making garbage. Go right ahead and buy it from them. Yeah, just stop. It bugs me when I see people like, oh, fuck Bob, he never has anything in stock. It's like, well, no. What, do you not think that he wants to give you stuff? Like, do you think he's sitting back like, I'm only gonna make like 50 of these because I want people to suffer, right? Like that's obviously not what's happening. I hope you don't think that. You guys don't think that. Somebody thinks that, though. That's 10 o'clock, friends. Let's get caught up on chat, and I'm going to wrap this thing up. I am Gross98 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, great stream and flight. Thanks for Whoop Wednesday. You're certainly welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your support. Kevin Sumner dropping the Patreon link and CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, homie. Bob Noxious with the CiottiFPV.com drop as well. Tuner Taxi says, CDs are trash compared to FLAC files. If you look at them on the computer, 100%. If you double blind test yourself, you won't hear a difference. Period. It's just the way it is. I did it all day, every day for 8 years. I just know. Glenn Burnett says vinyl is just different. It is. Different is a great word for it. And it's fascinating. Here's what's super interesting about vinyl. I love this about vinyl. We're, some of us are going to watch the world burn, and there's going to be a point where no hard drives work. There are no CD drives left, so CDs are worthless. Cassettes are already pretty worthless, but you can play vinyl with a fucking needle, like an actual needle, right? Like you can take a record and put it on a Lazy Susan thing and hold a needle and kind of hear the music. And then you can build a little horn thing like they used to, right? And listen to actual music. So records are a forever medium. We've already begun to run into this in the world of films. Like old school physical film media, you can play that. And like there are old ass films that at one point were stored digitally, but now that's gone because like old school hard drives don't work anymore. But they will find the physical film and shine light through it, and they'll be able to have this old movie that once existed. And records are the same thing. I thought about that because somebody in the chat said 661 said solid state storage, and when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, physical media, right? Physical media, although physical media also covers CDs, but yeah. Vinyl is interesting because if you take care of it, it'll last forever, and there will always be a way to play it, because it's there, right? With CDs, you gotta find a CD player. Inside the CD player is some fucking software and some algorithm, right, that's doing shit. Well, if everything burns, we might lose all that. And CDs are not forever either. The way that CDs are made, like we a handful of years ago, there was an article that came out that was like, yo, check all your old CDs, they probably don't work anymore. And like all your old burned CDs, they probably don't work anymore. Your old press CDs should be fine, but vinyl is something that I'm pretty sure. Although I guess at some point it gets into the stability of the material, the stability of the yeah. So I don't actually know, but you guys know what I'm saying. Kiz Bartlett says tote bags are great for throwing in your lunch, snacks, drinks when going for a flight. Things can't pre-plan for, and things which are applicable for the day on short notice. Very good call. You put your water bottle in one. Come on now. Kevin Sumner says typical human hearing is from 20 hertz to 20,000. 20,000 hertz. CDs sample at 44.1 kilohertz. Twice as good. Case closed. Yep. And they drop down to 20. I think they might drop below 20. Don't quote me on that, but I think they actually will drop down below 20 hertz. But it doesn't matter. You can't hear it, although you can feel it. Dan636 says, what kind of Mac was your laptop? I've got a 3-year-old MacBook Air and considering fitting Velocidrone, but I'm afraid it won't be able to run it. Any advice? You should be fine. My laptop is 6 years old. It's not an Air. It's the full-size Pro. But if I turned all the settings down, it ran Velocidrone totally fine. So yeah, you should be good to go. 661 says, yes, LQ is on one but not the other. That's super annoying. But again, I just can't possibly imagine a world where 15 extra points of RSSI in Express LRS doesn't signify that the wire is totally fine, if not a little bit better. I could absolutely be wrong, but I can't. I don't think I am. Dan636 says, buying LOL. Oops. What's that mean? Are you buying a tote bag? Is that what that means? If so, hell yeah. Thank you, brother. Kiz Bartlett says, on the subject of audio, remember Guitar Hero? Very vividly. They use .mogg files. I've never heard of that. If you import them into Audacity, you can mute each instrument as they were taken from master copies where possible. No shit. I did not know that. And that's actually really cool. That's really cool, because good lord, were there some sick songs in Guitar Hero. And to have the individual tracks, that's rad. That's really cool, actually. I did not know that. That's slick. Veritas Weasel... You said the thing? Veritas Weasel says, do you charge your batteries unattended in the garage or the house? Never, 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 never. LiPos are never to be charged unattended. That is the biggest no-no possible, unless you hate your house and the people that live in it and would like to see them burn to death. In that case, yeah, charge unattended, but that ain't me. I think that's not most of you either. Yeah, never, ever, ever charged LiPos unattended. Down here in the basement, there is a fireplace over there, a gas fireplace that I don't really plan on using, and that is going to become the charging station. I'm figuring out how to get power over there and how to get a slick little setup. And that... I'll have to think about this, but I might be willing to charge unattended in that, because it's a deep fireplace and then it's cement in front of it, right? Like, it's... They would have to jetpack out of that fireplace onto the carpet, and I really doubt that. But I still don't know, man. LiPos are still just sketchy, and I just don't ever think I'll be able to charge them unattended, and especially in a house with people that I love so much. So yeah, I doubt that I'll ever charge unattended, but yeah, that fireplace is going to be the charging station as soon as I figure out how to do it, like, in a slick way that doesn't look all silly. Kiz Bartlett says, don't worry, I was only joking. I know that Jesse has quality. No, Kiz, I wasn't saying that you were complaining at all, but on Facebook, of course, everybody bitches and moans about everything. That's what I was basically talking about. No, Jesse has quality stuff and love with Tiny Whoop Motors, and I know he wouldn't dog out on the community. A Cable 14 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, thanks for the stream and killer flying, bro. You're certainly welcome. Thanks for hanging out and supporting us creators. Makes a huge difference, man. It's very, very cool of you. 661 with the last comment of the night. He says, yep, you're 100% right. It has to mean something if one had more RSSI than the other. All right, cool, good. That makes me feel better. I mean, that's pretty cool. I gotta be honest. That is pretty cool that taking an RXSR antenna and just like looking at the exposed bit and just cutting a little bit beyond that and then stripping it down. You can watch me do this on one or two live streams ago. I guess it was last Whoop Wednesday. I don't know. It was either Monday or Sunday or Friday or Wednesday. And then just like I was like in a hurry, and I just like shittily soldered it to that pad, and it's good to go. So yeah, awesome. Brandon's Baked Beans says, I charge in bat safe, amazing peace of mind, just don't overload it. The rest of the pack's metal ammo box surrounded by bricks for extra security. I love the bat safe, but it's so like, it's the weird size, and like, do you put like the parallel board in there or no parallel board? It's just, I think what I would have to do is buy the biggest bat. It's just a weird form factor. And with a weird form factor, for me, knowing myself, what that means is I'll use it for a month and then I'll get frustrated and I'll stop using it. And that's a big problem. Like, I always think about that. I think about, like, realistically, am I going to use this thing? And the bat safe just seems like enough of a pain in the ass that eventually I'll stop using it, and that's not good. So, yeah, I have another thing in going. Brandon's Baked Bean says, someone I know but won't mention here in town accidentally burned a loved one's house in a LiPo fire. Very unfortunate, but extremely lucky they have insurance and no injuries. Scary shit. Veritas Weasel says, CDs and DVDs laminate separate from the foil depending on the quality. Sooner or later, USB memory devices fail after extended periods, causing irreparable loss of data. So the process of CDs and DVDs, for those that don't know, there's a layer of a layer of plastic, and then the information gets pressed into the plastic, and then a lacquer actually gets laid up on top. A lot of people think it's two pieces of plastic. It's not. It's plastic, and then it's lacquer. I'm sorry, it's plastic that's stamped, and then it's a foil layer because it has to be reflective, and then it's the lacquer, and then on top of that it gets silk screened. So the strength of a pressed CD comes from the thickness of the silk screening, and then the lacquer itself, and then if you scratch through both of those, you can get into the foil, and that totally ruins it. What's really funny is the bottom of, everybody's always worried about the bottom of the CD. The bottom of the CD is extremely strong because it's a sheet of plastic. It's the top of the CD that you want to worry about because it's only the foil is only protected by the silk screening and the lacquer. So when you see people put CDs upside down, flip them back over. It's better to put a CD silk screening up down on the table because you can polish that plastic on the bottom to fix it. You can't do anything to the top. If you scratch through the top into the foil, it's done. It's game over. Doesn't matter anymore because nobody has CDs, but little piece of info for you. Little piece of worthless info for you. Kevin Sumner says, don't get the biggest bat safe for charging, get the mid-size. And then Kevin Sumner says, I have five mid-sized bat safes. Look at you. JB's gigantic black power board fits with 6 6S 1050s and a medium size, but just barely. Maybe I'll look at bat safes again. But when I looked at them previously, I was like, nah, I won't. I'll stop using this. Love you guys. Be good. Here comes some rando flying. I don't know where. I don't know when. We'll do some. Here's some cinewhooping stuff from a gig with a motorcycle clothing company. It's another battery similar to what you saw at the beginning of the stream. Let me give you guys some Epidemic sound. And here's another look into life as a professional FPV pilot. Be good, friends. See you Friday at 7.